Hey everybody, out here in West Central Ohio today. We're going to do another plot tour and field day. It's been kind of a fun day. Got to do something a little bit different this morning. Met up with actually some dairy nutritionists and walked through our plot, talked about agronomy, talked about inogen. It was really cool, just a different type of conversation than what I normally have. So yeah, that was really neat. Here in today's video, I'm going to take you through again some corn hybrids, what I look for, do some scouting, and kind of take you through a normal field day event. So first thing here, we have our plot. All these are different hybrids that we offer. We're trialing them here. Again, I trial everything here locally so that I can ensure that the products that we're actually putting out are working on, the geography that we're working in. So we're going to go through all of those and get some ears, and we'll place them here on our ear boards for a little bit of like show and tell and stuff for the customers and stuff that are going to be here tonight. And then we'll talk about not all of them because there's a lot of products and I only have a limited amount of time, but we will talk about a few of them as we go through the evening here tonight. First earboard done, got 3 more to go. Rolling down through these hybrids here. Cracked open monster number 2 of the day. Gonna be another long one. Yeah, I think that overall this plot's looking pretty good. The corn's short, it's been really dry, so considering what we have went through here, like, it doesn't seem to look too bad. I haven't dove super far out there quite yet. Just pulling some ears again for the signs here to talk about while we go through the hybrids and of course the display board. So 3 more to go, and then we'll take a look at these a little bit more in depth, and I'll talk maybe a little bit more about some of these focus hybrids and anything else that we might see out there. So speaking about the earboard, I'd like to address something. Yes, they are cherry-picked ears. You betcha. I was actually at this event a few years ago, and everybody likes to play Stump the Agronomist, and that's fine. It's a fun game. I actually don't mind at all. But at the end of the event, one of the guys, he'd had a few beers or whatever, and he says, "You know what? I think you cherry-picked all those ears for your earboard." And I looked at him and I laughed. I'm like, "You're daggone right I did. Like, of course. I didn't just go out and pick all the runs to show you guys. Of course I cherry-picked the ears. Like, definitely." But there actually is a reason why I do that. No, not every ear is going to look like this. However, this does give you an idea of which products flex more than others. And so if you're one of those guys that likes to plant lower populations, you can see which hybrids might respond to that more. Likewise, if you're one of the guys that like to push populations, then something like this one, 10M87, probably isn't going to scare you away. Or maybe you farm here in Ohio or Indiana or somewhere where we often have wet conditions and often wind up replanting or having thin stands. Not the most perfect stands in the world. And that's the case with any seed company. I don't care who it is. You're gonna have some replants. And so like it gives you an idea too of which products might be able to handle a thinner stand should you encounter that as well. So no, those are not representative ears. It's for fun. That's the whole point of these events, is to have some fun. I'll go through all the nitty-gritty details of the products with people here. But yeah, like I do like to see what kind of ear flex we can offer with these products, because there is some inherent value in knowing that. So I am out here towards the middle of the field. This is G08U00-V. This is a 108-day corn that we launched last year that was really, really good for us a year ago. It has looked really good again all year this year. This is the first one that I'm going to look at, so this is going to be like my calibration for maybe what kind of ears and yield potential to expect as we go down through here. A couple things. One of the first things that I always look at is the placement of the ear on the plant in relation to the placement of the other ears around it on the plant. So for example, if I have this ear right here, but then the next ear was clear up here, and the next one was like way down there. Like, I don't like seeing that. We call that ear bounce. And that's just an indicator of an inconsistent hybrid. We're getting inconsistent earring. Often we're going to see inconsistency with, how it performs on silty clay loams versus sandy soils versus, tight clays, stuff like that. And so I really like to see that earing consistency. The other thing that it does is it really reduces the number of runt ears. So we do have one right here. Sometimes it can be difficult to determine whether that runt ear is from the hybrid, from the planter where we maybe hit a bump, rock or something, and it didn't get the proper planting depth, something like that. Here we have one where this ear got chomped off probably by a deer at some point, and then we sprouted some smut. So yeah, it's a fungal pathogen that occurs when the actual ear gets damaged. So you see that a lot along the edge of fields, but that's called corn smut. They actually eat it in other parts of the world. I think it's a pretty big deal over in France and actually down in Mexico. Mexico as well. But in any case, I do like the earing consistency that we have here. So all of these ears are very close to the exact same spot on the plants. Nice earing consistency there. The leaves are clean, very, very clean. I will point out some diseases here, right here. Here is one. This is northern corn leaf blight right here. It's tapered on the ends, kind of like a cigar. So you have that cigar shape. And then it's right next to some gray leaf spot. Often people confuse these two. Gray leaf spot will be rectangular in shape, and it does not cross those leaf veins. See how it stays within these two leaf veins right here, whereas your northern corn leaf blight, it will cross those veins. You see both of those diseases in basically every single cornfield in Ohio and Indiana. As long as it's not real bad, generally it's not something that I get too awful worried about. The big things that I'm going to be looking for today are tar spot and southern rust. I have not yet found any southern rust in this region of Ohio, and generally tar spot has been pretty light as well, largely due to the amount of heat that we've had this year. So I'll keep an eye out for it, see if we can get some separation between maybe various hybrids with how they perform. And then this one is actually really good on tar spot, so I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot of disease in this hybrid. So we're going to shuck these ears back, see how they look, and we'll take another video. So here is our earing consistency that we see here. This is the one that had the smut. As we go along here, I'm pretty happy with how these look. Seeing a little bit of tip back on some of these. This hybrid tends to do that. These kernels never pollinated. Sometimes we just get corn hybrids that throw more cob than they can handle. So kind of like if you went to Thanksgiving and got a whole plate of food and you just know you're not going to eat it all. So kind of the same thing there. But we are at the dent stage. So some important facts about the dent stage. Largely, people kind of phone stuff in at dent, and I understand why. Like, we're getting close to the finish line here. However, the crop is not yet made. So about 20% of a corn plant's total biomass is accumulated within the plant after the dent stage, after corn begins to dent. And so that is 20% of the corn's total biomass, but at this point in time, 100% of all of the growth that's occurring with this corn plant is on the ear. And so we're done growing the plant's done, so now we're just finishing out the ear. And so you actually take that number and you double it. And so actually 40% of our yield is left to be determined out here. So having a healthy plant from this point on is really important. Here is actually a tar spot lesion. This is the first one that I found right there. And so if we had a corn plant that was just loaded with tar spot, I might be inclined to say, and again, if we had really, really high yield potential, stuff like that, it might not be a bad idea to come in here and take care of it with maybe a very inexpensive fungicide application. If we were looking at 300 bushel corn, I would say, let's do it. That would do two things. One, it would stop the tar spot, and it would help us accumulate a little bit more dry matter into the corn kernels to actually help with yield. But the other thing that it would do, which is probably more important than that, is it would protect our stalks, protect the stalk integrity, make sure that this doesn't go down. That way, it's really hard to have 300 bushel corn if it's all on the ground. So nice little insurance policy there. But we aren't remotely close to that with this hybrid or probably any of them out here. So likely not a concern here. So 08U looks good. We'll go see what else we can find with some of the other hybrids. Out here on a split, this product over here is a new one. This one right here was a launch from a previous year. I think I like the new one better. So this got planted into tough conditions. You can see just by the plant spacing and stuff that emergence wasn't great. Here in Ohio, we had a stretch there of May where it was just flat cold. So yeah, corn really struggled to get out of the ground with much consistency. And I think we're seeing that here in this plot. But what I do see is more consistent earing out of this one than that one. And so I think that's something that I'm gonna like about this particular product. Since it's brand new, I've been trying to find as many examples of consistency out of it as I can. And so like what I see here, this product on the left is a good one. That's what I planted at my place this year. But perhaps we found something maybe a tick better here on the right hand side, at least maybe in this plot. So let's talk about a hybrid that I have loved for a very, very long time. One of these things about this job is you get attached to hybrids. Like, you see them every day. You get used to them every day for years and years, especially the good ones that you walk thousands of acres of them. This one is always going to have a special place in my heart. So let's take a look at it. So this is 10L16. This is a flawed hybrid. Yet it is probably my favorite hybrid that I've ever gotten to work with. Let's talk about why it's a flawed hybrid. So right here is an example of why it is a flawed hybrid. It gets northern corn leaf blight. So with this hybrid, like, you really do need to spray this one with a fungicide. You really do need to take care of it. It's kind of racy like that, okay? Because it will do this. Like, you'll get northern corn leaf blight. However, the thing about it that makes me love it is stuff like this. Yes, I picked the big one off the end. You caught me. I'm going to shuck this back and show you guys why I like it. It throws absolute gargoyle type ears, okay? These are huge. And so the top end yield potential with this hybrid is astronomical. We've worked with it again for a number of years, and when guys take care of it, you can just absolutely crank yield. So you can see the length that it'll flex, but check this out. It's not just length, it's kernel size. These kernels are absolutely massive on it. And so anything that you do late season, this sucker will respond to management. You know, late applied nitrogen, fungicide, obviously. But if you're banding anything, strip tilling anything, just putting as much fertility in that root zone as possible, these kernels will flex huge, 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 huge. And it's really hard to overemphasize how important that is to the yield conversation. And so we've got products like 10B61 that offer a very similar level of ear flex as 10L16 down there. And so 10L16, we are slowly phasing out of that, especially in my area. 10B61 gives me very similar top end yield potential without some of the agronomic baggage that I get out of 10L16. And so we are starting to slowly transition away from 10L, but I just wanted to share that with you because that has been a favorite of mine for a number of years. And yeah, it'll always hold kind of a special place in my heart. Okay, here is a entomology lesson for you guys. See that bug right there? That is a corn rootworm beetle. And this damage right here on this leaf and that leaf, these leaves, that is all from that corn rootworm beetle. What they do is emerge from the ground as a beetle. They can do two things. They can clip off silks and feed on silks, and then they can scrape that outer layer. Some of that is insect and some of that's gray leaf spot. But they'll scrape that outer layer off and feed on those leaves. Corn rootworm beetles are largely a corn-on-corn insect. This was actually beans last year, but the corn plot was right across the driveway. So they didn't have to go far in order to find a cornfield here. And so, yeah, probably what we're seeing is a little bit of a flyover from the field that is 30 yards from here. So, yeah, corn rootworm beetles, big problem, especially in areas of corn on corn on corn on corn on corn. All right, YouTube, are we in the trust tree? Like, can I be honest about something? Sometimes I think I'm kind of good at my job. Other days I feel like I'm not very good at all. Sometimes with agronomy, things don't go how they're supposed to go. Sometimes things work out that shouldn't work out. And that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to dealing with live organisms. Things that shouldn't happen, happen. Things that should go poorly sometimes work out, and like it's always something different. I'm going to show you a hybrid that I was very wrong about. So here on this side, over here, is G15U34-V. This is a Viptera hybrid. And it was a new launch last year, and all year long, I wasn't seeing it. I didn't think it had the yield to compete. It didn't flex like a big girthy ear. It flexed some length, but man, there were a lot of those 14 around ears, and I just was not coming up with the kernels, even at big kernel sizes, to deliver the type of yield that I wanted it to. And then I was wrong. So this was one of those examples of like, sometimes I think I got corn figured out, and other times I feel like an idiot. And I felt like an idiot last year when the combines rolled, because this one absolutely delivered. So let's talk about why. In these videos, I have talked at length again about ear to ear consistency. That's why this one yields. Look at all these ears. Bang, 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 bang. Basically, as far as you want to walk, all of these ears are the same. When you have all of these ears be the exact same, you don't have those runt ears that are dragging your yield down. I'm very much impressed with the consistency of this hybrid. That is why this one has been so good and why it has yielded so well. Here's how it looks all husked back. I was wrong on this one from the beginning. I'm happy I was wrong. This is a good corn. Don't worry about the snotty nose on these. I could go snap them off and you'd still be really happy with how they looked. So this is one I was wrong on. Happy to be wrong about it. And what has proven over the past 2 years to be a really good hybrid. All right, that's a wrap for the plot. Got the notes that I wanted to take. There's really nothing out there with a crazy amount of disease. Like literally a few tar spot lesions, a little northern corn leaf blight here and there. So not anything to be concerned about. No southern rust, so that's good. A lot of variability out there between emergence, compaction on the end. There's a dry ridge out there, so without walking the entire length of the field for all of them, it's hard to really be able to judge what I think is going to win the plot. I don't normally play that game anyway. A lot can happen between now and then. But yeah, overall, we're going to have a good plot day. So I'm going to go get myself dressed up a little bit, look more presentable, and then go set up all my storyboards and stuff so we can talk about agronomy, not just product, and probably eat some more barbecue, and yeah, trek on home tonight. So thanks for tuning in thus far, and we'll catch you in the next clip. The field day last night went really well. So thanks to Dickies for having me out. Been there for a few years in a row now, and it's always a good event. So hope you guys enjoyed it. There will be more to come, and we'll catch you again on the next video.